Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are previewing Gameweek 27. In tonight's show we'll be discussing each upcoming Gameweek fixture, predicting the potential key players, differentials and clean sheets as per usual. We'll also talk captaincy, reveal our teams, planned transfers and our Cougar Cub picks. Before we get into the show, we just want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who stopped by the live show on Sunday. Kieran and I really enjoyed it. We had quite a lot of you join us, so yeah, it was really good. And we're probably going to start making that a thing starting this Sunday. So we'll post up times and whatnot on our YouTube channel, but generally speaking, it'll be sometime after 6 p.m. GMT, before 8 p.m. GMT, and it's probably half an hour. It was good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a nice little change. Changed the pace a little bit. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, answer some questions on the fly. It was fun. Cool. Also, we'll post up times on our Twitter page. If you're not following us, you can find us at FPL Cougars. Now, let's get into the show. Game week 26 kick is still going on because Man City and West Ham are playing tonight. But how are you looking points-wise so far?
Yeah, so we did, if anyone saw us on Sunday, updated a little bit. So 43 points, got the Grealish bonus added, obviously. 54k down to 61k at the moment. So not terrible, but I've got Mahrez and De Bruyne to go tonight. So obviously there's going to be plenty of KDB captainers, plenty of Aguero captainers. So really I need Mahrez to do something to be able to salvage any kind of green arrow. Probably not going to happen. But if I can make it sort of just a 1-2k red, I'd be fairly happy with that this week. Points wise, I had the double pool captain defense. Salah captain blank. Grealish obviously that assist was nice. Vardy disappointing again, blank, and then finally got to see an innings goal with some bonus as well. So that was nice. And but other than that, pretty underwhelming.
Yeah, it was. I'm on 43 as well. Slightly different formation, different players in defence especially. Stevens could have had that massive haul. Ended up on 1 point, and then Stevens, the Sheffield United defender. I mean, I mentioned it on the live show. He was my transfer in for Lundstrom, and just failed really with that 1 pointer.
Would have been close though.
Yeah.
If he'd gone in, you'd been loving it, but or scored. Sorry.
These things happen. Rank wise, I've dropped again, so I'm like 738 now, which is poor, and I think it's only going to be like more of a red arrow because I think people are going to have a lot of Man City captainers and Man City players tonight more than just my KDB. So, let's move on then. Should we talk about game week? Should we talk about our Cougar Cup picks actually? How they did from game week 26 before we move on to our fixtures.
Yeah. So second half of the game week, you picked Henderson, who obviously ended up doing well. 7 points. Losing to Henderson is a bit annoying, but I picked Bergwijn against Villa. You got the 2 points, the blank. Unlucky, I think, a little bit, but could have had a few points there, but never mind. So overall wise, I'm on 82, you're on 91, and February wise, I'm on 13, and you're on 9. So that I clawed back to you, and then you go and get a Henderson assist and some bonus, and you get ahead again. So that's going to keep happening probably. But.
Yeah, I think it's quite a crucial one this weekend. I feel like some good fixtures to pick some differentials this week. So
see, I thought it was quite hard to pick this week.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe I'm going to surprise you with one then. But I got some good ones. It's your go to pick first as well this week.
Cool.
All right, well, let's start talking about the fixturinos then. Let's start with the first game of the game week, which would probably help, wouldn't it? Spurs are travelling to Stamford Bridge to play Chelsea, in which is quite an important game for the top four. Spurs playing obviously tonight, Wednesday in the Champions League, so it remains to be seen if they pick up any more injuries. I suppose that's the main talking point really, isn't it? The fact that Son's broken his arm. Yeah,
apparently did it in like the first couple of minutes of the game or something, and he played the whole game with a broken arm, which I posted on Twitter. I was like, when did this even happen? I had no idea it had happened, and apparently he was sort of protecting his arm the whole game, and I don't know, props to him for playing the game with a broken arm, because that's obviously not a small injury, is it? So, and to get 2 goals as well. Love that. Wish I owned him at that time, but I don't know, why can't he carry on if he's played the whole game with a broken arm? Why can't he play the rest of the games, right?
I know. It was a strange one. I felt bad because the 50,000 managers have brought him in sort of after the game, or after the deadline, and obviously since to find out he's been picked up his injury, going to be out. another one for Son. Really, it feels like it's been quite a stop-start for him since the red card in December time.
Why you don't make early transfers? Because this week there's been obviously 26 has been going on forever, and then there's Champions League as well. So even players in like today's games or Spurs tonight might get injured again as well, and they'd be screwed because they've got no strikers right now. So
Jose of course said the thing about he was going to hang himself off the side of a building. Did you see that comment? It was really strange.
I thought it was just hanging by his hands, not actually hanging
himself.
By his neck.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It's obviously not good. So Son had picked up 33 points his last 5, so that was like the most inside the top 10. For points per game in that time, and 7 shots versus Villa, 1 big chance created. His stats were really good, and he has been their main attacking threat. So past Son in the Spurs team it's now going to fall on Dele, I think. So Dele has the highest XG of any player in the Spurs team, bar than Son, with 2.2 over the last 4. He's only scored 1, so he's underperforming a little bit. But I just wonder how Spurs are going to play now. Do you think Moura gets into the side a bit more, and he's
he has to,
going to be out of position centre forward?
I kind of fancy Ali to go up there actually, and then Bergwijn and Moura either side of him, sort of thing. Yeah, I think that makes sense more than sort of like Lucas through the middle, and because Ali's not really a wide player, so I think that makes more sense. But obviously, I don't know what Jose seems to do. Jose seems to like to have Lucas through the middle, doesn't he? But Dele's with his big chances in that Villa game, he had like 4 of them, something, didn't he?
That's right.
Great defending in the end, but he should have had a haul. And a 5.5% owned, he could be a differential coming up. But at the same time, is he going to do anything? Because they have basically no one right now. So
it's a strange
and
one.
And the fixtures are tough as well.
Yeah, all these like typical midfielders is playing in that central striking role. It's not always great. So like you say about the shots, he's had 9 shots in the box in the last 4, which is the second most of all Spurs players after Son, and then 6 big chances in that time. Is actually joint top with Son. So he has been a little bit unlucky not to score more, so he could be worth looking at. But also, I think their fixtures are difficult.
Also, I think Son was super jammy for that haul. If Engels didn't fluff that up, which any other time, like, why would you fluff that up? Like, you just kick it away. Then he's through. Obviously, a good finish in the end. And then the penalty, which was sort of questionable, I suppose. And then he obviously a terrible penalty, and he just gets the rebound. He's a super jammy haul. And any other day, they would have had 0 or minus points from Son from missing that penalty. So, got to look at it that way sometimes.
Yeah. Which way do you think this is going to go then? Because Chelsea obviously had that setback against United for the top 4 race Monday night.
Yeah,
another big game for them at Stamford Bridge.
They didn't look good, did they, against United?
No, well, they had those 2 goals sort of ruled out by VAR, so they did.
Rightly so,
they did score. Do you think Giroud's going to come into the side? I thought he looked better than Batshuayi.
Yeah, I guess we'll see on Tammy's fitness. I assume he was held back for this one and Champions League coming up. I think he'll be fit. I don't know. I'm not really basing that on anything. Just he never seems to be injured for too long.
Right.
But then he's never fully fit either. So, and then Cho out of nowhere seemed to be injured too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only person I sort of want to mention on the Chelsea side was James. He seems to be nailed on now. 5 million, 0.7% owned. So he is very differential. But I think he oozes class in that position. He can defend and attack.
Yeah.
But that defence has only had 1 clean sheet in 8 weeks. But their XGC is second overall at 4.09, so that's good.
That is good.
They have conceded more than they're meant to. With these fixtures coming up after Spurs, that's a great run. Obviously, they've got City as well at 5 weeks away, but other than that, they have got a really good run of fixtures. So I'm kind of looking at James because, I don't know, maybe, but yeah, they've only had 3 clean sheets at home all season as well. Their away form is much better, but I don't know. At 0.7% owned, he doesn't get much of a better differential, and he can whip in a crazy good cross. So, but if Giroud gets in the squad as well, then he could get. He could be even more.
Yeah, definitely. He's the sort of player which will bring the best out of Giroud. I do think there'll be goals in this one. So Spurs have only kept 2 clean sheets on the road this season. And looking at their just XG recently, so they've had XGC recently. It's been 7.5 in the last 4, and they've only conceded 3. So they've been pretty unlucky not to concede a lot more. So I do see a lot of goals in this one.
Agree.
Yeah, finally on the Spurs side of things, before we move on, I just want to touch on Aurier because I wanted to see how he was stacking up against other fullbacks in the league. So he's had 303 final third touches in the last 4 game weeks. I think that was. It might have been the last 6 game weeks, but 9 in the box, which is seems 9 times. It does seem like a lot. I think it was 30, maybe 30 final third touches, and nine in the box, which is 9 times more than any other Spurs defender. So yeah, there's some good numbers there. 16 crosses into the box, 6 key passes, and 1 big chance created. So it doesn't stack up very well against other fullbacks, but the fact that he's racking up such good quality crosses, they're turning into key passes. His 6 in the last 4 game weeks is the 3rd highest total of any defender. So he's still looking good from an attacking point of view. If you want to get onto that one.
I think he's probably pretty lowly owned now as well. So
he is. Yeah, he's not particularly high. So. Could be one for the Cougar Cup picks. All right, let's move on to Burnley against Bournemouth. Burnley against Bournemouth this game week. So Burnley, why didn't Pope keep a clean sheet again last week? I forget now. Danny Ings. That was why.
Yeah, of course, Danny Ings. Obviously, the only player I really want to mention is Taylor. Obviously, Pope. We've talked about him loads. But yeah, Taylor at 4.2 million. He's played 9 times 90 in a row now, so he seems to be nailed on since game week 18.
Yeah,
and 1.1% owned as well. So differential 27 points in the last 4 weeks as well. 3 clean sheets there. So the fixtures are actually, I think, quite good, like fairly decent. At least the next 2 are good. Spurs at home, I think. Who knows what Spurs are looking at? And then City, and then you got Watford as well. So the next 5, I think, other than City, the games that Burnley can do well in, because they obviously got 2 clean sheets against Man United and Arsenal recently. So why can't they get one against Spurs? Taylor, he'll cover game week 28 quite nicely of Newcastle away, and then you can bench him for Spurs and City if you want, because he's still got a fixture in 31 with Watford at home. So I quite like him at that price point. There's not that many sort of like cheaper players at the moment that are definitely nailed on. So. And he seems one of them. His attacking stats are kind of not really there, but he had a few sort of nice runs against Saints, and I thought he actually looked decent enough. So, if you want someone for really cheap in a team that are performing well defensively, then he could be the one to go for.
Yeah, no, I like the pick, to be honest. And he's a good budget saving, isn't he? When
absolutely,
I've still look at my team and see Kelly sitting 3rd on my bench, and maybe it's not quite right to double Burnley defender. But for those that don't have Burnley goalkeeper or another Burnley defender, he could be one to look at. On the Bournemouth side of things, they've just been so poor on the road. So they've lost 7 of the last 8 away matches. I think their victory was. I can't remember off the top of my head, actually. I thought it was against Norwich, but then I remembered that amazing Steve Cook Campbell. And they conceded 9... Oh, yeah, it might have been, yeah. No, they conceded 9 goals in their last 4 away games, which is the worst in the league. So I do expect Burnley to win this one. But I just wanted to mention before we move on that it seems like Fraser and Wilson are finding a little bit of form recently, which I think is going to be key to them surviving. I don't think their fixtures are particularly good. So after this Burnley game, they got Chelsea, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Wolves. So I think there's some tricky games there for them.
Definitely.
But Fraser, I thought he looked good against Sheffield United. So he had 4 key passes, 1 shot, nearly got that assist for Wilson. It was like a deflection before it fell to him. So he had an assist in the previous game against Villa. It's a shame his price is so expensive still, 6.9. It's still a hangover from last season. But I thought his touch map was good. He's getting in the box final third well. So I wonder if he's sort of, I don't know, found his feet a little bit recently. Wilson as well seems to have come back into a slight bit of form. So he's had 3 big chances in the last 4, which is the best for all Bournemouth players. 1.5 XG and 2 goals in the last 4. Expected points, he's been on 19.5 and he's had 18. So he's basically sort of matching what his underlying numbers are saying. So you'd sort of think that if they are going to get any goals in this upcoming run, they're probably going to have to come through him. And the fact that he's got a couple under his belt recently, it could be, I don't know, a starting block for him to kick on and pick up a few more. So under 5% could be a little differential. It's just a shame. Like Fraser, even, he's still quite pricey.
Yes, he is. I sort of fancy him in this, actually, to be fair. And, you said you think Burnley will win this, but they haven't got Wood, they haven't got Barnes.
True.
And Jay Rodriguez doesn't do much. I don't expect Vidra's going to get a really, really nice goal like last week. So, to be honest, I might even start Rico having said that now. Because, I sort of fancy Bournemouth here, actually. I think they could win this and a little smash and grab and a 1-0 win or something.
Did you see them start? I mean, their start against Sheffield United, who notoriously are like good at home, they came out of the blocks firing.
Yeah, they played well.
Yeah, they played well for the first 20 minutes, and Wilder said they couldn't live with them. And I think if they start with that intensity against Burnley and have the number of chances and create the number, I reckon there could be something in there for Wilson and or Fraser. So yeah, I mean it's key time for them now. They've really got to scrap in this game. Like Burnley, probably I'd say they're probably going to write off the Chelsea and Liverpool games as ones where they could feasibly pick up points. But Burnley and Crystal Palace, which are obviously this coming game week and in 3 game weeks time, you'd sort of see those two as ones they're targeting for big points.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, should we move on? Any more to add or?
Nope.
All right, so Palace against Newcastle also happening on Saturday. Palace's fixture run, Keek, it's looking good, almost as good as Newcastle, isn't it? These two are like just about to embark on a good run. Yeah,
although there's not really much anyone to mention from either team at the moment. Palace, their XG is 3.11 with 3 scored, and that's last place by quite some distance. So they've been awful, pretty much. I've got down here, they've only scored more than 1 goal in 5 games all season, so 5 times in 26 weeks. So they can never seem to win a game sort of 1-0. They always need to score 2 to get a win, because they'll concede. So, they're what they got Benteke. They probably wouldn't have scored against Everton if Pickford's awful mistake. So, there would have been another game where they hadn't scored or anything. So, I think Benteke, all those people, you need to get rid of them. I mean, Zaha is the only one who's looked okay. He's still 6.8 million at 9.5% owned, but he is sort of ticking along. He's had 3 returns and 3 blanks in the last 6 weeks. But his stats are still pretty bad. An XG of 0.31, XA of 0.48, 4 shots, 6 key passes, but 2 assists. I
feel a bit sorry for
still
him.
Good, but well, exactly. But I think if you do have him, any returns that he does get, I think will still help your rank. So
that's true.
He is a differential, and we know how good he can be, and they have to start picking up points because they're towards that relegation zone, aren't they? So, and these are the fixtures to do it, and I'm sure they will know that. So, if there's any time to bring in someone like Zaha, it's probably now.
No, I agree. I think it's a strange time for both of these teams because there's obviously a lot to play for as we get into the crunch time of the season, but they're both woefully out of form. So Palace have lost their last 3 matches. Newcastle haven't won on the road in their last 5 games. These two are just like bang slap out of form for this fixture, so I'm not really sure how to call it. I mean, Newcastle attackers this season have been pretty poor as well, really. I mean, Joe Linton has been as bad as any Palace striker, and St. Maximan isn't sort of like, I'd say he's probably actually a little bit better than Joe Linton. I think St.
Maximan looks great.
His fun,
stats
isn't
are
he?
good.
His
stats are good too.
Yeah. Well, I actually have got some on him. So in the last 4, he's had 6 key passes and 2 big chances created, and an XA of 1.14. So it's not terrible. He's the second highest for expected points in that time for all Newcastle players. 3 shots in the box is best of all Newcastle players, just behind Joe Linton. So he's a mega differential as well. 0.4% ownership, 5.4 million. I think if you are ever going to take a crazy gamble on St. Maximan, it would be now. I mean, Crystal Palace, Burnley, Southampton, Sheffield United, Villa, Keek.
I'm honestly so tempted for the blank game week to take out Mahrez for him.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
for Burnley at home.
That would be good, actually.
Oh, that's so tempting.
That would be good. Well, it'd be such a ballsy move, wouldn't it?
Well, it would just be sort of like, why not with their fixtures? Just play them when you can, sort of thing. And massive differential, like I said. So
I like it.
Okay. You carry on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, on the other side of things, I mentioned that he's the second highest for expected points in that time. That is actually behind Fernandes. I mentioned him last week's show, and he's probably the best defender for securing baseline bonus points of all the Newcastle defenders. So in the last 4 game weeks, he's secured 61 total points for baseline bonus. Lascelles is the next best on 44, so he's way far ahead. He's also got a bit of goal threat in him as well, so he's had more headers in the box over the last 4 than Lascelles. He's picked up those 6 bonus in the last 4, so for 4.5 million, he seems like the best Newcastle defender. Wasn't it
Clark who got injured last week as well? So I think maybe Shah comes in, or Lejeune or something, and those two have both got decent sort of threat, set piece threat as well. So I fancy some possibly a goal from a header looks like a way to win this, or set a piece, something this game. But yeah, Kelly, you've got Kelly on your bench still, rotting away. So Kelly replacements, because he's obviously lost his place and is a bit injured right now. So Taylor, as I said earlier, from Burnley, 4.2 million. Lascelles, obviously, I think he went up actually to 4.3 now. Newcastle. Hanley at Norwich is 4.0. Played the last 3. So yeah, Norwich look okay defensively at the moment. Obviously held Liverpool to only 1-0. Cathcart at Watford, we mentioned him before, 4.4. Target at Villa, 4.4. Seiss at Wolves, 4.4. Stevens, obviously at Saints, 4.4. So Hanley seems to be the only one at 4.0 that's playing regularly at the moment. Obviously Tanganga was, but he's been dropped in the last few. So I think Hanley is the only one at around 4 million. That's playing as a Kelly sort of replacement. Yeah,
I imagine we'll talk about it more in when it gets to the blank. But you're talking about taking Mane out for St. Maximin. Is there any other? Oh, sorry, Mar. I was going to say, yeah, okay. Mar is out for St. Maximin. Is that purely just a 1 week punt sort of move? I mean, or do you think you'd get tempted to keep him after those good fixtures?
Well, yeah, possibly. Yeah, it might lead to sort of like upgrading someone like Vardy or something like that to Aguero. Who knows? With the money in the bank, I could do whatever I want at that point. But at the same time, there might be a Game Week 29 sort of double Game Week for City, because they've got so many postponed fixtures at the moment. So they need to be fitted in somewhere. So.
I am gutted that tonight's game isn't happening in a separate game week.
Yeah, same.
It would have made a double game week with West Ham, and it would have been so juicy. Really, really good. But yeah,
100%.
they've got so many fixtures. I don't even know if we could rely on any of their players to start twice.
That's
anyway.
true. Very true.
All right. Sheffield United, Brighton. Another Saturday game. Should I feel bad for taking Lundstrom out, Keek? I think is the main question I want to pick your brains on.
I don't think so. No. I mean, he is still 43.3% owned.
Yeah.
But I think he's dropped 0.1 already. And I think he'll probably start going down more. He's not going to start games, I don't think. Still, like Wilder did say he's been fighting for his place, and he did well to sort of earn his place back. But is he actually going to start? That's the thing. Do you think he's going to start? Would you advise me to keep him? I think I'm keeping him this week at least. But
you've got him on the bench at the moment, is that right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I can see why. To be honest, I would still err on the side of getting rid of him, but I feel bad that I've done that, if that makes sense. Like, logic tells me he has lost his place.
He's not going to score off the bench every week.
Exactly, and it was a great goal, but yeah, I don't think he's going to come on and score, but it's still so frustrating.
But he always comes on, as we've seen.
Yeah, he does.
And
he was in the box. He was in the box.
Is that enough for just a bench person who's possibly first bench, who comes on every week at least and gets 1 point and the opportunity for a 6-7 pointer?
What I would say about other Sheffield United defenders is because they are such a good defensive side, you'd think that their primary function should be to get you a clean sheet if you were going to have one of them, not just like a single point and then maybe a goal off the bench.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's so tempting to start him this week because you would expect a clean sheet here, but at the same time, I don't think he'll start. So, and I don't want that. It's more likely for him to get 1 point off the bench than it is to score. So,
it's a tricky one.
I am leaning towards selling him eventually. I'm leaning towards possibly him out to someone like Seiss. I want Bolly, but I feel like Lundstrom out is maybe better than Sidibe out, because it doesn't, as I've said before, it doesn't solve a 28 blank player.
Yeah.
So, and Seiss seems nailed on, and he is good on set pieces as well, threat. But anyway, we're talking about the wrong team. But Lundstrom out, I still think is a thing. If you've got people to go for.
Yeah, no, I think I agree really. And like you say, I think Brighton are the perfect team for Sheffield United this week. So I'm really hoping after last week fluffing up against Bournemouth, they're going to get a clean sheet here. I mean, Brighton have failed to win 11 of their last 12 away games. But I mean, they've not been doing too bad in front of goal on the road. So they've scored 5 goals in the last 4. They have had an XGC of 6 and conceded 9. So that's not been quite lining up. They conceded sort of a lot more than they were expected to. So you'd think it's going to be a tight game, but I can't see them battering Sheffield United. I mean, Sheffield United must be feeling so focused this week after the news of Man City obviously could be dropping out of the Champions League. They see Chelsea drop points. They know they've got some cracking fixtures. Brighton at home, followed by Norwich home, obviously after the blank. They get 6 points on the board while maybe Chelsea drop some points against Spurs. Imagine if those two draw. Yep. They could find themselves quite feasibly in fourth before they go up to St James's Park to play Newcastle. So big games for them. Like, it's actually got real now, I feel like.
Yeah. I wish I could own them. I wish I could start Lundstram, but I can't just take Lundstram in for... maybe I could because it blank bench... Or just get Egan in or someone, or Stevens. I don't know, that Norwich game afterwards is so tempting as well.
It is, isn't it?
Just because, like, if they ever get a clean sheet and you don't own them, like me... it's going to wreck the rank. Like, and you've only got one of them, I think, as well. And some people, most managers, our active ones, have double or triple. So, it's worrying. I'm really just hoping Moy or someone like that, or Moypai can get a goal this week.
Yeah. Well, I should say on Moypai, so he's had 21 touches in the box in the last 4, which isn't bad for strikers at his price, but I mean, it's not anything to get too excited about. He's had 8 shots in the box, so he's averaging 2 per game, essentially. He's had 2 big chances in that time. His XG, a bit like what Moypai's been doing pretty much all season, really. It's a lot higher than he's had goal return. So 1.6 XG in the last 4 games, no goals to show for it. So it's sort of consistent with what he's been doing. The actual person that's looked the best from an attacking point of view, I think you mentioned him weeks ago, but you turn your nose up when you hear Aaron Moy's doing the best. I'm 4.8 million, 0.8% ownership. I feel like if he had a different name potentially, or he wasn't playing for Brighton, people would be like clamouring because he's showing like better sort of stats than Cantwell was having at the start of the season. So unfashionable pick, but he's had 6 key passes in the last 4 game weeks, 2 big chances created. Add to that, right, 5 shots in the box, which is second most of all Brighton players. So he's bombing on a hell of a lot. And the big stat, which really jumped out at me for 4.8 million, he's had 3 big chances in the last 4 game weeks. That's nearly, obviously, 1 per game, and that's most of anyone in the Brighton team. So yeah, for 4.8 million, he's holding up pretty well. And I sort of look at their fixtures and I don't really see much to get excited about. So after Sheffield United away, they've got Palace at home, Wolves away, Arsenal home, Leicester away, all pretty tough fixtures. But I mean, if you were playing a free hit in game week 28 and you're looking for a crazy differential, Aaron Moy up against Crystal Palace at home, Geek, that could be your Mahrez transfer right there.
No.
Exactly.
Well,
but the numbers are good.
I'm praying for him to score this week, that's for sure. But I don't know.
All right,
not so keen.
Not so keen. Exactly. Well, that's it. People aren't so keen on Moy, but he's been putting some good numbers up. Anyway, 5th bench. Sorry, not 5th bench. Maybe 1st bench if anyone has him already. I'm too scared to play him. Anyone else on the Sheffield United team you want to mention before we move on?
I do have Henderson down here, but everyone knows about him now. He's rose up to 5.1 million. I saw I'd missed all of his rises somewhere. But yeah, his last 5 weeks he's had 6, 3, 11, 10 and 2, which is really, really big. Extra save point in all of those bar 1. So yeah, he's done well. High scoring goalkeeper. I've missed the boat. I think you have as well. Yeah. But yeah, if you own him, well done. He's probably a season keeper.
I'm on the Pope boat. Right, Southampton against Villa is happening also on Saturday. You and I both have the vice captaincy locked in on Danny Ings' arm. He obviously took his goal well, didn't he? In the game against Burnley. It felt good, didn't it, to finally get some returns off him?
It did, yeah. He had 3 bonus up until like the final post-game bonus, and even with a 2-1 loss. So
amazing.
Yeah, he was looking good. Obviously, he went down to 1 in the end, but yeah, nice to finally have that goal and bonus feeling from him. And obviously, Villa this week, they gave up 23 shots to Spurs last week, so which was by far the worst of all teams. Like by far, sort of like at least 12 or something shots more than the next team to give up shots. So yeah, Villa had an XGC of 4.5 as well. So imagine Ings of like a hat trick or something this week. That would be amazing. But
it's a shame Salah's got that West Ham home fixture, isn't it?
It is, yeah. At the same time, like Redmond's out. Like, where's the sort of creativity for Ings? Like he seemed to, that goal he got last week was kind of all of himself. He didn't. he sort of made it himself. Like nobody passed it into him or much creativity. So, his XG is 0.56 and an XA of 0.42 with 6 shots and 3 key passes and 0 big chances. But he still got a goal. 12 points last 4 weeks. That's not great, honestly. Those are not good stats. And as the thumbnail says, Ings captain, go for it. But I don't know. Actually,
say otherwise.
Yeah, but the Villa stats of being so crap defensively, gives you hope of at least a goal here and a couple bonus. So that's what I'm hoping for, just another goal and a couple bonus. So I don't think he's definite captain material.
Well, Burnley sort of did well to restrict Southampton. They allowed them just 2 shots last game week. I mean, I know Burnley are obviously a different defensive proposition, but you're right. Perhaps that is a little bit down to losing a few of their creative players. I had a little look back at the game earlier in the season because I remembered Ings had scored in that one. So
he got braced, didn't he?
Yeah, at Villa Park it was 3-1 to Saints. Ings scored 2, Stevens scored, and Grealish, right? So I was looking at that game thinking, oh my god, if that happens again now, that's just 19 points in pure attacking returns. How good would that be?
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, is it? No.
Imagine all of those. Yeah,
it would be good. So yeah, like you say about Villa, so there's been over 2.5 like total goals in 9 of Villa's last 11 away games, so I do think it's going to be another high scoring one here. It's they've got a blank in 28, so you and I have been sort of debating for weeks what to do with Grealish, but I mean there's no way I'm going to get rid of him. So in the last 4 he's had 15 key passes, which is second only to Maddison. He's had 3 big chances created, which is the third highest behind Salah, Traore, and of all people Theo Walcott. 9 shots in the box is a good number for him over the last 4 game weeks, but he's not particularly sort of accurate with those shots. So XG of just 0.5, so it's not really a surprise he hasn't returned any goals. I wanted just to have a little look and see if there's anything else to recommend on the Aston Villa side, because all we seem to talk about is how well Grealish is doing. And the only other one who looks like they're performing quite well is surprisingly a defender, but not because of their clean sheet potential. It's from their attacking output. So Target we've probably mentioned a few times on the show over the course of the last, 8 to 10 game weeks, but he's had an expected points of 20.1 in his last 4 game weeks. He's only secured 10. Mainly that's because of how many crosses he's put into the box. So 27 passes into the box is joint most with Grealish. That's at Villa, and that's 13th overall for all players in the last 4, which is pretty good stat for a Aston Villa defender. 5 key passes, 1 big chance created, 4 shots in the box as well for Matt Target. So that's the 3rd most of all Villa players. So yeah, I think that sort of stat surprised me a little bit because I didn't realise he was getting that far forward.
I genuinely only think he looks good because of how good Grealish looks down that side. Yeah, because he's passing. Grealish is giving him good balls and good things to run onto. So, but they're a good combo, and he looks like a decent prospect. So, but one thing also to mention on Southampton, their home form is dire. They've only had 1 home win, I think, all season. So,
wow.
There's that.
Maybe I'll get
great things.
Maybe I'll get the vice captaincy off him and put it on Jimenez actually.
I've got stats to talk about on that one as well.
Oh god! All right. Let's talk about the bigger game or the bigger meeting of 2 teams on Saturday evening. Leicester welcome Man City, and I don't really know where to start with Leicester at the moment because they've been such a letdown with their highly owned players in Maddison and Vardy. But when I was having a look at the Grealish numbers, I was surprised to see that the only person sort of Grealish was second to in key passes and only a little bit behind in chances created in the last sort of 4 game weeks was actually Maddison. So he's not been doing too bad.
I mean, people saying he's fallen off a cliff, but really he hasn't. His stats are actually pretty good still. So XG of 0.74, XA of 1.53, which is really big. 8 shots still, 1 big chance, 17 key passes.
That's the big one.
Yeah, 2 big chances created, but 0 goals, 0 assists. So everyone says that Maddison's form is linked to Vardy's form, but I mean, maybe it's the other way around. Vardy's form is linked to what am I trying to say here? But anyway, Maddison doesn't seem to be off form. It's just maybe it's just Vardy that isn't, sort of thing. So 1 return in 10 weeks, I think. So you've owned him for that one, but I think they've got to get back on track soon. Like this City game feels like one they could get. I don't know. I fancy them to get something, at least a return here, at least a goal. Maddison possibly assist to Vardy. I think they've got to get back on it at some point. And this run coming up of Norwich, Villa, Watford, Brighton is obviously so good. So yeah, I'm tempted to bring Maddison in for Mahrez from that blank, just because I think his stats are still good, and I think they're gonna go on a run again. Like I said before, I think they're a streaky team, not just the players. They're a streaky team, and they're going to get back on it because they're fighting for that Champions League spot. Like, they're not safe from dropping into a 5th place or something, so they need to get wins now. Speaking of Vardy as well, he had 19 touches against Wolves, which is actually dire. It's obviously a tough game, but he looked really bad. 0 shots, 0 key passes, 0 dribbles, lost possession 7 times.
Wow.
Like, horrid reading, to be honest. But his stats are XG of 2.1, an XA of 0.99, 4 shots. 4 shots is the bad part. 4 big chances, though. 2 key passes, 2 big chances created, and he's at 5 points. So, the stats are there. Those 4 big chances, like, usually you'd think, oh, he's going to slot every one of those away because he's clinical, but he just hasn't been lately. And he's creating 2 big chances as well, so his assist potential is still there. So I think sooner rather than later, he and Maddison are going to be back on it, and everyone's going to be thinking, why do we ever leave them? But
it's an interesting one.
Keeping the faith perfectly.
Well, I'm potentially going to bench Maddison again, as I did last week, because I just don't fancy like a big return over someone like either of my 2 Stevenses, because they've got good home fixtures against Villa and Brighton.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've held him just because, like you say, the fixtures are good. He plays in the blank when I need a player to, and it's Norwich away, and then after that Villa, Watford, Brighton. So I feel like I'm going to persevere with him for a bit longer. And it was the key passes and stats that sort of made me think, okay, well, something is happening there, but it's just not happened for him recently. As soon as Vardy knocks one in, I could see them going on a little spurt of form.
I agree.
Yeah. They've got I think I just had a quick look, so they're 9 points clear of 4th. So I wonder if that sort of affects them a little bit. Like, there isn't as much motivation there because they feel like they've got it in the bag. But I mean, if they lost this City game and some other teams sort of below them win, the gap starts to get a little bit smaller. So yeah, but they need to make sure they get Champions League now after that first half of the season and sort of being talked about as title contenders for a little bit. Now they've dropped back.
If they can go win against City, like really stick the boot into City, then that'll be amazing. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so City have conceded 6 goals in the last 4 away games, so I'd sort of look at that and think they're definitely going to concede in this one, but it's just who they're going to concede the goals to on that City side. So talking about City, so my stats now are sort of based on the 4 fixtures previous to game week 26, if that makes sense, because they've still not played. But in most touches in the final third box, I was keen to look at to see who's going to sort of get in around that Fox's penalty area. So it is your boy Mahrez. So he's had most touches of all City players in the box in the last 4 away games. 27 with 7 key passes. Only KDB has had more. So I mean that bodes well for him. I take it you've got no plans to sell him before that blank and hold him and play him for this Leicester game.
I think so. Yeah. I think I will. Yeah.
And Aguero as well. I mean, again, it's so difficult to predict the City lineups, but he's been the best for shots in the box and big chances in the previous 4 away games. So he's had 2.6 xG, and he's had 11 shots in the box in the last 4 big chances. Surprisingly, 1 less than Sterling, who's obviously played a fewer games. And I also wanted to shout out Sterling generally, right? So in the last 4 games, as a total, Sterling had an expected points of 24, obviously, and he missed some of those. His actual points was only 14, and that sort of like comes to a wider point about Sterling's season, which I wanted to bring up because remember at the start of the season you tipped Sterling to have like being the highest scorer, and the expected points for him have shown he should have done so much better. So his expected points so far up to now this season, all the games he played, would have been 150. Which would have placed him 4th overall of all midfielders. He's only actually scored 116 points. So that is a massive, massive difference of 34 points there that he hasn't gained. So I think he's been, I don't know if that's wildly unlucky or due in part to City's lack of form. But
I wonder if he's been overplayed. He seems like he hasn't really, of all the rest of the sort of squad, he hasn't really been the one rotated. He seems to have played most games. And he's only ever really had a rest in sort of like a FA Cup third round or EFL sort of third round or something. So yeah, that might be why, and that might be why he's eventually got his hamstring injury. So yeah, just a bit of a shame. Hopefully he's fit for the Euros for England.
God, yeah, it seems like all of basically the front three that won us that game against Spain. I know it was a while ago now. Like, was it a year and a half? Oh no,
maybe.
Yeah, so that
last summer.
Yeah, well, I suppose it was. Well, basically, they're still England's front three, really. Rashford, Sterling, and Kane all have picked up these injuries.
All injured, yeah.
So hopefully Sancho gets a little ticket into that front three. But yeah, on the Man City side, generally, I think if you're going to be looking to invest in there, obviously Aguero, KDB, and De Bruyne probably the pick of the attacking players. I still can't trust their defence, and it's a shame they got a blank. Really, will you go back to double City mids after the blank? They go away to Man United in that game.
Not sure at all. Just one thing to mention is Sane and Laporte are in full first team training now. So Sane could be on the cards. I think Pep said he'll probably sub him on in a few games before he starts. But Sane is around the corner. Maybe a triple captain 1-pointer in the last few weeks for Sane.
Why not?
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, well, talking of Man United, they're up next. I think they play on Sunday, don't they, against Watford? You were impressed, weren't you? I think you called it on the live show they'd win against Chelsea, and so they did. Bruno got his first assist. You were excited about him. Did you enjoy watching that one? Yeah,
it was a good game altogether. Chelsea may be slightly unlucky, but VAR is there, and it did its job, I suppose, that time. But yeah, Bruno-wise, he's obviously 3% owned now, so he's going up there a little bit. Well, still a differential, obviously, but 7 shots in his first 2 games, 3 key passes, an XG of 0.39, an XA of 0.11, so that's not great, but he is going to be on set pieces. He's obviously got that assist from that corner, which is a great corner. 8 points in 2 games, not too bad. Average of 4 points, you'd probably take that, I suppose. But I expect him to sort of push on. I think Watford have been struggling a little bit lately. Everton could be a decent game. So yeah, I'm sort of looking at him for a Mahrez replacement. Just that Everton game, I think he could do quite well. So yeah, it's tempting, but I want to watch him this weekend to see if he really is the sort of real deal. Then there's Martial. Obviously, I thought he was absolutely dog crap at sort of holding the ball up, but until his goal, I thought he had an actually terrible game. But he's still out of position. He's still 7.9 million playing up front for United. That's good. His first return in 4 weeks last week, and I think he was a bit more of a sort of a lucky header. I don't think he really placed that. He just got there. But it was a good finish in the end. XG of 1.0, XA of 0.37, 11 shots, 1 big chance, 4 key passes, 1 goal, 15 points in 4 weeks. That's okay. So yeah,
it doesn't excite me that much.
No, it doesn't. But if he's going to tick along, I don't know. Well, I mean, they've got where have I got it down here? They don't fight. Wait, where have I missed this? I'm missing this on my things. But anyway, I think they don't play a traditional top 6 from 31 until 38 or something. So the rest of their season is really good, with full of just green fixtures on the FDR. So yeah, Man United players at that point, I think, going to be worth sort of looking at. And then the final player is Wan-Bissaka. I think you said last week that no United defenders have had any attacking sort of prowess, but actually,
he did well.
Wan-B has got an XA of 1.08, which is only better than Digne in the last 4 weeks.
That must be for the expected assist he had against Chelsea, I guess.
Well, probably. So yeah, 2 big chances created as well, 9 key passes, and he's had 21 points. So I think he's sort of settling in, getting a bit more offensive. They've had I think it's 5 clean sheets the last 7, including cups for Man United. So and they like these sort of bigger games. Man City and Tottenham coming up, possible clean sheet potentials as well, because they keep it tight in these big games. So yeah, Wan-Bissaka towards the end of the season, like I said, they're 31 to 38 with no traditional top 6 opponents. Wan-Bissaka, 5.3 million
could be an option.
Yeah,
I feel it's amazing how quickly sort of the perception of a team changes, because United hadn't scored in 4 games previous to the Chelsea game, and then they go away to Stamford Bridge, win 2-0, keep a clean sheet, get a bit I'm really cynical now, but get a bit lucky with VAR, for Harry Maguire, obviously both Chelsea's goals, and then all of a sudden, like, we're thinking, Man United players could be good investments. I'm still a bit unconvinced. I could see them dropping points against Watford this weekend.
No way. Nah, this is where Bruno finally shows up, like, properly. He gets, like, 2 assists. Like I said it against Chelsea. At least he got 1. I think he's going to get even more this week. I think United seem to always do all right against Watford. So yeah, I think it's a win.
Wolves, I'm not so sure. So Watford's away form hasn't been particularly good sort of defensively. So they've only kept 1 clean sheet in their last 4 away games. United as well are looking quite good, sort of like you say, defensively, and they've only been defeated once in their last 11 home games. On the Watford side of things, it's actually our old favourite Troy Deeney who's looking the sort of best of all the players. So it's amazing, really. 10k have got rid of him, right? And he's had 6 returns in 7 game weeks, 9 shots in the box. In the last 4, which is only 2 less than Aguero. He's actually highest for expected points of all Watford players as well, with 25, which is 10 more than any other player. But he's only had 16 points in that time. So, yeah, I think Deeney's been a bit unlucky not to have sort of returned more, I suppose, if you like, in those last 4 game weeks. And especially to be doubly unlucky that people are taking him out, because those are good numbers. I mean, compared to, like you mentioned earlier, our flavour of the season, Danny Ings, he's been playing really well.
I think it's fixture.
Probably is, yeah.
United, Liverpool, Palace, Leicester, like difficult games for Watford, I think there.
Yeah, I think Deeney is probably a lesson learned for me in sort of making sure you get on a manager bounce when it happens. Like, I feel like I missed the trick with Nigel Pearson, because it definitely happened with Deeney and even Deulofeu to an extent as well. And the same with both Duncan Ferguson. I know we're going to talk about Everton a bit later, but yeah, especially the same with Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison. So I think there's a case for when a manager bounce comes in, you and I next season have got to start looking at those attacking players and thinking, right, they're going to pick up some wins and points, and that's who we want to invest in.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Before we move on, I wanted to get your initial reaction to the fact Mahrez is benched tonight, because I know you might be a bit irritated about that.
Is he actually?
Yep.
Oh, great. Disaster.
Is it a disaster?
Well, yeah. If he doesn't at least come on, then I'm out of the cup.
Oh no! But won't you get a point off the bench?
Oh yeah, I will actually. Yeah, good point.
So if he comes, so the worst case scenario, if he comes on and gets a yellow card.
Yeah.
God. All right.
Typical, isn't it?
Yeah. There you go. The perils of owning Riyad Mahrez. Anyway.
Great.
Yeah. It's annoying that didn't come up while we were talking about Man City as well. It was a few seconds afterwards, so I thought I'd let you talk about Man United and then get your reaction. All right. So Arsenal Everton is another Sunday game. Arsenal, another one of the teams that have a blank in 28. So they've been racking up the clean sheets recently.
You've missed Fixture here as well.
Have I? I've missed Wolves against Norwich. We'll go back. Let's talk about Arsenal first, because I got started on them. Okay. Their defensive numbers have been good, haven't they? 3 clean sheets in a row.
Well, yeah, their XG is 7.22 though, and they've only conceded 3, so they're massively overperforming. But 3 clean sheets in a row, yes, which is unheard of for Arsenal. So, and I did sort of mention Bellerin a few times, saying you know he's had 2 clean sheets in a row here, like he's looking pretty good. And then, yeah, they get that third one. So, yeah, I fancy them going forward. They've still got great fixtures. Obviously, the Everton one might be quite difficult, but West Ham, Brighton, Southampton after the blank, yeah, good. So,
like it.
Aubameyang, 10.8 million now. 2 bonus, despite only scoring once in a 4-0 win. Didn't get any other assists either.
Yeah, how do you manage that?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea. He always seems to be huge up on bonus, and he just didn't do anything. Like it's strange. I honestly don't know. And like the eye test, he seems like he does nothing as well. So yeah, stats wise, he's an XG of 1.39, an XA of 0.61. Sorry, 2 key passes, 1 goal, 10 points. So it's not exactly riveting right now. But I think they've probably found their formation.
Yeah, definitely.
Put Lacazette in instead of Nketiah, then you've got a good team there. Pepe, 2.5%, 17-point haul. Has he finally arrived? Maybe, but I'm going to say he's not fully yet. I don't think he's going to be consistent. We need to see him do, assist every other game or a goal every other game before we can start actually sort of picking him. But he had an XA of 1.53 over the last 4 weeks, which is big. But that's fluctuated by that game against Newcastle, I think. 6 key passes, 6 shots, 1 big chance, 3 big chances created. 3 big chances created is up there as well. 21 points, but that is 17 points from that Newcastle game. So I think he's a bit of a trap still. I think that's pretty obvious. I think we need to wait on him. But Mahrez replacement, if you got a bit of money, maybe.
He's one.
He blanks in 28 as well. So tough to get him in.
I think he's what if Arsenal sort of continue this run of recent form they've had, and they go into the end of the season, and they finish quite considerably well, and Pepe does start to rack up more 90 minutes. He could be one of those players in his second season when his price drops a little bit. He sort of comes into his own. He makes that spot his. But I just need to see that consistency from him, like you say. Really, the fact that he's had 21 points in his last 4 game weeks, and 17 of them came in one game shows that how inconsistent he is. So he's one I do like watching because he's fun on the ball, but until he adds more consistency to the game, he's not like a fantasy asset for me, sadly. I actually think this is probably going to be the game I'm looking forward to most this weekend. I think both teams in good form. Everton not particularly good defensively on the road, so they've only had 1 clean sheet away from home this season. I think that was week 1 against Palace. But recent form, they're looking really good. So they're undefeated in 10 of their last 11 games, and they've been good in front of goals. They've scored at least 2 goals in the last 3 games, mainly due to the front two, Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Richarlison making Maddison look like a right egg in the last couple of games. So in his last 5 starts, he's had 5 attacking returns. In the game against Palace, 5 shots, hit the woodwork, 1 big chance created. XG of 1.9 and assist rating, right, of 2.25. So he's actually bettered his XG of his expected assists in the last 6 games. Expected points has been 35, and he's actually scored 41. So he has overperformed slightly, but the numbers there for Richarlison looking, really tasty. And the same with DLC, really, because I was having a look back at his numbers, and I remember when, at various points of the season, we'd done the show, and I think maybe even got back to the point where Ferguson first came in or took over, and there was a little lift after Silver, and DCL's numbers spiked. And they look good. And I look back to see how he's done really. And so since he started playing 90 minutes full time, basically in game week 16, he's only blanked 4 times, which is now 10 game weeks. So he's been really good for the price he is. So he's had 3 goals, 1 assist in the last 4, and 7 big chances in the last 4. It's the most of any striker. So considering they're in sort of a mire now of difficult fixtures, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. But there's a lot to be said for form and confidence. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
What do you think about Mahrez to Richarlison, despite those fixtures?
Yeah, I quite
He's certainly got the form.
He's definitely got the form, yeah. He's got the form. Ancelotti's a good manager. He's got more experience than any of the recent managers they've had for navigating a tricky time. So, I think that their game against Man United will be, and Liverpool, will be the two, tight and tough in the next 5. But this Arsenal away game, Chelsea away and Norwich away, it's a shame they're all away. But I could see him popping up with a goal and assist maybe in those next 3, but I do like them both, man. They're good. They're doing really well.
The problem is there's no obvious replacements for Mahrez / Son. People who are looking to replace Son as well. I don't think any of them are that obvious. There's Richie, there's Bruno, there's Ali, but none of them are great fixtures. None of them are great form.
Nope.
And some of them are untested, so it's just who the heck do you go for unless you go to St. Maximan, which is obviously the way to go.
Maybe it is St. Maximan after all this time, Keith.
Yeah.
It's the time to come round to him. All right. Any more to add on the Everton side? I'm just looking forward to this game. I'm excited about it.
No, I hope it's good.
I hope it too. All right, let's move back to the game I missed then. So Wolves against Norwich. You wanted to talk to me about Jimenez, didn't you? Because I mentioned something and you went a bit oh my God. So is there something I should be worried about?
So Norwich have only been thrashed, which is conceded more than 2 once haven't been thrashed since week 8 with more goals scored than 2. Okay, so that was a 1-5 defeat to Villa.
Right.
So I don't think Jimenez is worth a captain here because Norwich haven't been thrashed. He's probably not going to haul. He might get the 1 goal on a bonus, but is that enough for you to consider over someone like Salah this week? probably not,
No.
right? So, I think Norwich have been better defensively. That's why I'm thinking Wolves might not smash him. So, but Jimenez's stats are very good right now. An XG of 3.41, which is first of all forwards, an XA of 0.87. So get a guy that does both. 15 shots, which is joint first of all strikers. 7 big chances, joint first as well with DCL. 3 key passes, 1 big chance created. 25 points. So stats are awesome.
Yeah,
but like I said, I don't think it's going to be a big win. I assume Wolves win, but I don't think it'll be big. That's just my piece on that.
Interesting. I hadn't appreciated Norwich hadn't been quite as bad as I thought they were in my head. I mean, they failed to win 12 of their last 13 games. I mean, they're not in particularly good form. They conceded 7 goals in the last 4 away games. So, like you say, they're not getting pummeled in that region, but they have only had an XGC of 5.9. So they have been unlucky to concede that many. Surprisingly, though, I had, like you said, defensive numbers. Another stat I saw that backs that up is they've only conceded 8 big chances in the last 4, which is the same as Chelsea and Spurs, sort of teams you associate with having a bit of a better defensive record this season. I think it'd be a good one. I do think Wolves will win this one, but again, it's the first fixture back in the Europa League for them tomorrow evening, so it'll be interesting to see how they react to that come Sunday.
Yeah, let's hope Jimenez doesn't get injured.
Yeah, exactly. That would really suck, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
On the Norwich side of things, I haven't really got too much to mention, really, because none of their players are getting me that excited. Like Buendia, we talked about a couple of weeks ago, but his numbers have really dried up. And it's back to the main man, the Finnish legend, Timo Pukki, who's actually looked like the best of a bad bunch, really. So he's had 6 shots in the box and 2 big chances in the last 4 games, which is the most of any Norwich player, but compared to other strikers, it's not particularly groundbreaking, so I wouldn't sort of recommend any investment there. Their fixtures aren't too bad. So after this Wolves game, they got that Leicester at home game. They go away to Sheffield United, and they do have 2 interesting fixtures, I'd say, at home against Southampton and Everton. So if you want to take a bit of a gamble, he's still owned by quite a hefty amount of people. I think he's still up around 13-14%. But Pukki's not really ringing my bell. I was going to say, Kieran.
I mean, that what's he called, Lucas Rupp guy? I think he had a good chance against Liverpool and screwed it up, but he was getting in some decent positions, and he's 0% owned. 4.5%, 4.5 million mid. Who looks to be playing? He's had 85 minutes, 88 and 82 in the last 3. So he's a cheap 5th mid option if you want.
Well, a bit like Hanley,
Cantwell, maybe.
Yeah, and a bit like Hanley as well, because Hanley's obviously come into the side, like you say, 4 million. He's a nice cheapie, but I wouldn't be. He'd just be sort of a bench option for me.
Yeah, you would. So, and then there's Bolly, obviously on the Wolves side. I did think he scored 1 week too early when he scored last week, but. I'm so annoyed that I'm 0.1 off being able to go Lundstrom to Bolly. Yeah. I would 100% do that without any questions asked if I could afford it. But instead, I'm looking at Sice, who's 4.4 million, seems to be nailed on, but he's a bit of a yellow card magnet, which is a shame. But since coming back, Bolly's had 2 clean sheets in a row with Wolves. So, I think either one of them is probably fine to go for. Sice seems now, because obviously Ryan Bennett is gone. Yeah. Dendoncker can go there, but Dendoncker is a midfielder, obviously. That back 3 has looked good since Bolly's been back. So, I think one of them is going to come in, but it's either Sidibe or Lundstrom that goes, and I've not decided yet.
Yeah, interesting. No, all right. I do think Wolves are good. It's just a difficult sort of time to get on their defenders. Because
I don't think so.
Well, difficult time to get on the defenders for you, because Sidibe is obviously not a blank game week player.
Yeah.
And I can see why that's a bit tricky. But their defence is good. Norwich, Brighton and Bournemouth at home in the next 5. I think I mentioned on the Sunday show I was sort of looking to get in one of those, and if I had enough money to upgrade to Kelly, that would be great. But that would sort of leave me with 5 really good defenders I'd feel bad about benching over the next 4 or 5 game weeks, which would suck, because I've just got money invested elsewhere. Yeah, so maybe Bolly would be good to put on to give me some more bench options, but it doesn't feel like the right thing to do.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. All right, the last game of the game week is probably the one which we're all going to be looking to because of our captaincy picks. But I just want to start by mentioning Jordan Henderson. So you were talking about Mahrez replacements, right? So I had a quick look to see which midfielders, and Sun replacements as well, really, which midfielders had performed best in the last 4 game weeks. So Henderson is actually the second highest scoring midfielder after Salah in the last 4, I believe. So, yeah, he's played well.
Yeah, he has. He's probably an option, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like 3, 13, 3, 13, 3, 13, and 7 in the last 5 weeks. Yeah, 39 points that is. So that's pretty big. Imagine if you owned him for any of those. That's
massive points.
That's great. Robbo, I want to talk about 20.6% owned. He's still 7 million, but yeah, I thought he very much passed the eye test last week. He deserved a sort of attacking return. I thought he was very unlucky not to get one, but yeah, he's still obviously proving great value compared to the 6 million mid or 7 million mids. Sorry, and then Salah. I think he's a pretty no-brainer captain choice this week.
Yeah.
His stats are just insane. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this for stats. So XG of 3.36 and an XA of 3.06, and that's 23 shots, 5 big chances, 11 key passes, and 5 big chances created. 4 goals, 1 assist, 42 points. So I don't think we've ever seen an XG and an XA so high together, plus the 5 big chances, plus the 5 big chances created. So he's performing on everything right now, and nobody's even close to him or matching him for XA and XG. It's just to be honest, I think most of the time he doesn't pass the eye test, but those stats are showing that like he really is doing the business, and like I've sort of flirted with going Ings captain or Jimenez captain, but it's Salah this week 100%. Like Mane got taken off tactically at half-time in the Champions League. So is he fully fit though? Like Salah came off early as well. So yeah, this game looks prime for one of them to haul, and I'm just hoping it's Salah.
Yeah, well, I think I made maybe not the mistake, but I just backed the wrong option in a couple of weeks ago when Liverpool had that favourable home game, and I backed Trent for the captaincy to try and get round the Salah and make some differential points. It ended up backfiring after that late Salah goal. So I don't think I'm going to make the same choice again. I think I'm going to back Salah just because he's, like you say, the stats are amazing. He's been lethal at home, and you think he could probably easily pick up a brace in this one.
Yeah, and Adam Hopcroft on Twitter, go check him out if you've seen him. He's said that the PPM at home only this season has been Salah at 9, Mane at 7.3, KDB 7.2, and Ali at 6.8. So that's another reason at home Salah averages 9 points per match. So yeah, that's good captain haul.
Yeah, I don't think it would have gone far wrong this season if I'd also captained Salah most of the season. But it just so happens that when I have captained in the season, he's invariably not done very well.
Yeah.
In the West Ham side of things, Kieran, I think this could be the season they actually get relegated. So they're currently sitting third from bottom in the relegation zone, joint on 24 points with Watford. So they've lost their last 3 away games. They've conceded only 5 goals in the last 4, so it's not terrible. But as a team, they're so poor in front of the goals. They've only had 4 big chances in the last 4 away games, and their goal threat is basically non-existent. So Haller has been their best performer with an XG of 0.8 in the last 4 games. He's picked up 1 goal somehow. He's only had 7 shots in the box, and notable sort of like expected points players in the last 4. Believe it or not, Marky Noble's had the most expected points with 16. I think they're just real danger of going down. Really tough fixtures for the next 4, because after Liverpool they got Southampton, Arsenal, Wolves, but then of their next 7 games they play 5 of the traditional top 6. So really, really tough fixtures for them, and none of their players are looking worth investing in, and they just look woeful. So it's all sort of lined up for either a Liverpool drubbing or a sneaky Haller goal in like the 98th minute just to ruin everything.
Snodgrass from the outside the box.
God,
yeah.
But now this bit's just really, really poor. And I don't know what they'll be interested to hear from some West Ham fans, but they looked like some good options at the start of the season and just progressively got worse. And now the fact they actually find themselves in the bottom 3 heading into what is a really rough run of fixtures, I can't see them picking up many points in the next 7. And then I feel like they're going to be adrift as they get into the sort of the last 3-4 games of the season.
Yeah, they got them. Yeah, I completely agree. But they've got that Bowen guy to make a debut, possibly.
Yeah.
Can he cut it in the Premiership? I don't know. There's obviously lots of hype around him, but I don't respect him to too much, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think it's a can't see him happening either, to be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of hype around him, but yeah, not at the moment. Sorry. All right. Does that about wrap it up, or do you want to add anything more on the Liverpool West Ham game?
No, that's it. I think Salah or Mane captain is or even just one of the defenders. Yeah, I think you just got a captain. Liverpool this week.
I'm saying I think it's going to have to be Salah. It's a shame really because even in a game like this, I would have used my triple captain over the Mane 1 point debacle of a few weeks ago. But yeah, it does look really good, this West Ham fixture on paper. So let's hope it bears fruit. Did you see sort of like the Van Dijk Robertson interview after the game last night? I thought it was like they seemed I don't know, just so confident in their ability to win at Anfield, and
I thought it seemed a bit toys out the prammy to me.
Yeah, it did. Like Robertson said, falling on the floor quite a lot, didn't they? I noticed that.
Yeah.
They did. To be honest, Atletico did play the game last night. Every time I only watched that game highlights, but every time I looked over, it was like it was the referee being surrounded by some players or a player on the floor. So
it's very Spanish football, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. All right, so yeah, Salah for both of us. Clean sheets. Do you fancy anyone this game week?
I've got Man U. I think we'll get one against Watford. Okay. Sheffield United, unfortunately, and then Liverpool United. Just to keep the United thing going. Obviously, Liverpool aren't United, but all the Uniteds.
All the Uniteds. Well, I sort of time with that. The only other person I sort of hope gets one is Stevens for Southampton. It'll mean no Grealish
that would be
returns.
nice, but I think Grealish will get that. Yeah. I think Samatta's look good as well, so I think Villa score, unfortunately.
I think we can get goals in that one as well, but
yeah.
All right, what else do we usually do, Kieran?
Cub pick.
We do usually do Cub picks. Who are you going to go for?
Okay,
first.
I was going to go Shane Long, but I'm not.
Blimey.
Yeah, just
God.
Villa at home, they've been so bad defensively, so
yeah.
But no, I'm going to go Bruno just because put my money where my mouth is.
Okay.
Watford at home, fancy him.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I quite like that pick. All right, I'm going to go for someone a little bit more left field.
You've already said it, haven't you?
I'm going to go for Pepe.
Oh, okay.
And Arsenal, yeah, I feel
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, no, I didn't think you would be. I just kind of think there's going to be goals in that Everton game purely because of their failure to keep a clean sheet away from home, so only one all season. That sort of tipped it, and I was like, he's coming off form, and Arsenal playing quite well as a team. And I'm looking forward to that game anyway, so I kind of fancy a Cub picking it.
Remember when I said I was going to just keep picking Pepe until he just started returning? And if I'd done that, he probably wouldn't. You would have been so far ahead because he's been awful.
He has been awful, yeah. But no, I'm feeling good about him. All right, have we got any more to add tonight's show? I feel like we missed something. Maybe we haven't missed something.
No,
we're good. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Keek, what time are we going to be back on Sunday? Ish.
Same as last time. I can't remember when it was, but just a bit before 7ish.
Just a bit before 7ish. Well, there you go. It's the accuracy which our loyal viewers and listeners love. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back on Sunday and then back next week with our Gameweek 28 preview show. Until then, have a great game week. Captain Salah, it's goodbye from me.